Hello watchers, and welcome back to the channel. What I have for today's watch review is this piece from a brand that is again different. I haven't done this brand before. It is a MontBlanc. You know, that company, that German company, which is most famously known for its pen manufacturers. Really, some of what I understand to be the best fountain pens and pens in the world, certainly luxury items. Now, MontBlanc was founded in 1906, so over 100 years ago in Germany. In the 70s, the company was acquired by Dunhill, and today forms part of the Richemont group, a group which is really quite impressive in the range of companies it features, including Lange, Cartier, Jaeger-LeCoultre and Piaget, amongst other brands. You know, so certainly a lot of watch making expertise that MontBlanc could count on when they ventured into watchmaking in 1997. And you know, there has been some, I guess, some people who have looked down on MontBlanc watches as to whether they are, you know, real high-end pieces. From everything that I've read about MontBlanc, it does appear that they have been quite uncompromising in the way that they have approached the extension of their brand into watchmaking. You know, they've established their own facilities in Switzerland, very much still a German DNA type of company, but you know, the watch is Swiss made. This movement is an ETA movement, but they have also established their own in-house manufacturers, which is really quite impressive for a company which is ostensibly quite new. You know, really less than 20 years old in the industry is considered new. So what we have here is the MontBlanc Sport 3273 automatic chronograph. I really like how they kept the name, the model, very short, precise, almost Japanese-like in its naming. This is, as I mentioned before, not a in-house, but it's an ETA movement, which immediately you will guess would be the Valjoux 7750, and that's correct. This is what it's based on. MontBlanc calls it the Calibre 4810/510. This watch has a retail, US retail of 4,500, as far as I have researched. But you can get that for, you know, much less than that, around 40% less, I think, on online grade retail. I don't know how much boutiques would really sell this for. As far as I gather, it is a 21st century model rather than an early model. But you know, I'd have to be corrected if I'm wrong about that. Amazon lists it as present from 2010. So the Valjoux 7750. As with all of these movements, run at 28,800 beats per hour. It is 25 joules with 48-hour power reserve. This watch is stainless steel, and pleasingly, it is 41.5 millimeters diameter, which is fairly standard for the Calibre. But I think it's the thinnest 7750 I've had. It's just under 15 millimeters in thickness, which really is quite good for this particular movement. 20 millimeter lux, which is, you know, nice and suitable for this case size. It does have a screw-in case back, as you've probably already visualized there, with a nice MontBlanc star in the middle, the symbol of MontBlanc from the top, as well as the company symbol, and also reminiscent of a snowflake, because MontBlanc means white mountain. The tip is always covered in a nice white patch on the beautiful photography of the mountains that you will find online. Okay, so screw-in case back, screw-in crown. It does rate at 200 meter water resistance. It's got this very rich black dial. You know, there's a bit of lacquer to it, but it really is reminiscent of the Meisterstück pens, the MontBlanc pens, which are, you know, the name of the watch, or at least the name of the pen has been put on the side of the watch there, and that's German for masterpiece, as far as I gather, and that is the name that MontBlanc gives to it's top of the line products. So they've lent it to this watch, as well as a number of their watches. Not all their watches will carry that label, but this particular one does. Okay, so it's got that 3 subdials. Obviously, with the 7750, it's got the center seconds, it's got the hours at 6 o'clock, it's got the minutes at 12 o'clock, and it's the small running seconds at the 9 o'clock. In this case, the subdials are, really, I think, quite classically decorated. Look at the counters. They've put 60 markers around the small seconds at the 9 o'clock position. Loom in all the hands, including the chronograph hands, as well as the hour markers that you can see visible there in a nice white, lined with surrounded by stainless steel. Sapphire crystal, of course, at this type of price range with anti-reflective coating, and you can see that it's got the internal magnifier. The Cyclops is on the inside rather than on the outside, and I quite like that. Actually, it functions well. And it doesn't, interrupt the top surface of the sapphire on the outside. Unidirectional dive style bezel, of course, with a PVD treated steel insert, ion plated steel, to achieve that look. And overall, the MontBlanc cues are unmistakable. I've already pointed out the crown mark there. The name of the Meisterstück, the top line pen there, the case back, the black and white patterning, which is famous on the MontBlanc symbol, as well as many of its pens would be black in color. No, not exclusively, but many are. Okay, bracelet. What we have here is a fairly simple design, but fairly well executed, I think. It's kind of it's obviously brushed steel with the sides being polished, as well as the that side surface there is polished. It does have pin links. Unfortunately, it's not screw links at this level, which you would expect screw in this day and age for this level of pricing. A very nice solid steel butterfly deployment. Which means that the clasp is hidden when you have this on the wrist. Let me just put it on for the wrist shot. And really, I've enjoyed the old world type of look of this watch. It really has its own, a lot of its own style, which, one of the big positives I've enjoyed about this watch is it's really a great archetype of the MontBlanc philosophy of merging old world classic cues with modern design, and I think it does achieve that to at least some extent. There's another MontBlanc there symbol that you can see. It's sporty, unmistakably, because it's a dive design with that bezel, with the chronograph, unmistakably sporty, yet it has a dressy look to it. I think it really, certainly more dressy than that first Valjoux 7750 Tag Heuer that I reviewed. It's almost up to that Maurice Lacroix type of cues, actually, some of this design, including the butterfly deployment. And also, not to mention, it's the most streamlined 7750 that I've reviewed. Certainly the thinnest I've had. If anybody knows what the thinnest 7750 watch is, I'd like to know, because most of them don't seem to be able to be designed in a thin way, and this is the thinnest I've seen, just under 15 millimeters. What's not a little bit of weaknesses, not major breakers, but just a little bit of things of note. That bezel font is old world, and I think I can understand why they chose it, but it does have a little bit of inconsistency. If you can look at the printing on the face of the watch, all of those words are in a font that's got squared off ends, a square font, or for those who are into typology, it's a sans serif, whereas this is clearly a serif font. It's got the flourishes, and it looks a little bit inconsistent to me. I understand why they've chosen it. I wonder how it would look with a squared off font on the bezel as well. No micro adjustment, which is a minor gripe for this bracelet. A lot of the top brands do try to fit in some micro adjustment, but I think it's not really possible with a butterfly deployment. And as I've mentioned, also pin links for a watch that retails, or at least has a recommended retail of 4K and above. This day and age, you'd expect screw links, I think. So there we have it, a look at a watch from a brand that I haven't covered before, a brand with a lot of heritage in accessories and pens, but is relatively new in the watchmaking world, in the horology world. So thank you guys again for watching this far. Let me know what you think of this watch, whether you would consider MontBlanc a proper watch brand. Give us a like and subscribe if you want to keep in touch. And as always, I will catch you next time.